Hey everyone, so the mic had a few issues on the recording for these videos. You're going to notice that I'm going to sound really off on these videos. Unfortunately, there were some issues with my mic during them. It's been fixed, obviously. Hopefully it doesn't affect your enjoyment of the videos. And you'll notice that I notice it on the final video there a little too late. But in terms of that, let's get in here. Let's watch some One Piece and have a little bit of fun. And I'll see you all on the next video. Alright, have a good one.
I can get I can put you up over here.
Yeah, so the way that I have Smoker built currently is to take advantage of the unKOables. So like I have 4 of the 3-drop, which is he can't be KO'd, and if there's a 0-drop in play, he gets plus 2,000.
Yeah, pull it up.
For Borsellino and for Smoker, the 5-drop, who gets double attack when there's a 0-drop in play. So like all of those 11 characters can't be KO'd.
Right.
So it's just really that just obviously what I'm playing into is the idea that I'm going to be playing against with this deck is that I'd be playing against Zoro, which is going to have lots of 1-drops.
Yep.
And then if I'm not playing against Zoro, I would be playing against Kinemon, which also has lots of 1-drops.
Okay.
And Smoker himself would bring them down to 0. So
Yeah, that's true.
So then right there, then all of these smokers are active. And Borsellino is just active during your opponent's turn, so the only time that I would have to care about Borsellino getting KO'd is if I attack into a red player, and he gets a gum.
Right, but even then you just attach it on and you're fine.
Yeah. Well, I have to attach 2, but yeah. He's only 6k during your turn.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that.
But otherwise, the effect actually, the deck actually works because, like, depending on who you're against, it just switches, and what you draw, it just shifts between being tempo and control. Because if you draw, like, all your Sakazukis and stuff like that, then you just play the control game, like your Kobe, Sakazukis, and Helmetos. But if you draw your smokers, then you just start playing the tempo game. So.
Yeah. Okay, I see that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
definitely hard counters the shit out of Kaido. 100%.
It hurts against Kaido. Yeah, I know. Like this deck would definitely die versus that deck. I think that like after that game I played against you, it has just solidified my position on 10-drop Kaido. Honestly.
Oh. Yeah, 100%.
Like I was kind of at the point where I was 50-50 on the 3 and maybe doing 3 and 3 of like 3 King, 3 Kaido. But like funnily enough, the Sanji build convinced me that I think I need 4 and 2 because I had King in hand, and it was completely useless against your Sanji. Because you just had a board full of 3s, so I didn't have a secondary target.
Yeah, at that point, it's just like you might as well just play the 6-drop.
Exactly. So it's just like, yeah, like the way this deck is built is obviously to try and combat the low decks, the low to the ground decks, and like survive until I can get the 10-drop out. And the fact that I wasn't able to find a 10-drop killed me. So
you can try it again real quick if you want to.
No,
see how it goes.
It's fine. It was just funny that like that like exact situation came up where I had a King in hand, and it was like if that was a Kaido, I actually could have won, like just by
100%.
field wiping, right? So like that was the big money maker there. Like even having who's or like anything like that to like stem the tide earlier. Getting any counters, any of my late game really, like I don't have a lot of late game in this deck minus the Kaido, to be fair. Like that's kind of how the deck is built these days for OPO2. Um, the other way to build that obviously is I take out the 2 Who's Who and put in 2 more Kings.
Right.
But I feel like, and that is very viable. It's just that then I'm obviously leaning on the idea that I'm gonna get Onigashima, because
Yeah.
otherwise I die to Zoro.
Because I think the biggest thing with going into set 2 is just the fact of a lot of decks is going to be more on the low costing, and in response to it, for a Kaido player, 7 drops are nice, but I think the 10 is just a better option.
Well, the
There's a
thing
lot
is yeah, like once you're at the 7 drop, unless you were going, so if you were going second, you're playing the 7 drop on the turn that you're able to ramp yourself to 8, and therefore next turn you're going to be at 10. So if you were able to survive till 7, you have to make the judgment of can you survive one more turn and just go 10. And the turn that you can go 7 in, what's it called? I am actually missing a card in this build. Like this one I kind of threw together, so I am actually missing my 9-drop Kaido. I run 1 copy of 9-drop Kaido.
I think
so.
Set 2 compared to set 1, like I think for set 1, like yeah, 4 7 drops makes a lot of fucking sense. I think for set 2 though, and it will kind of really stem off of the first couple weeks. I think primarily it's going to be a lot of people that want to try something new, and they're going to steer away from like the Zoro or like different law variants, like
well,
the
we'll
easy
see.
board.
I actually think that, well, it all depends, right? So if we're going into Treasure Cup, like going into Treasure Cup, the decks I am highly expecting to see. I'm expecting to see Zoro because like we're gonna show this off next week, right? We're gonna talk about, like, we're gonna go into these more in detail next week.
Right.
But like OPO2 Zoro, this is actually a different build than the one I actually want to run. This is what, let me get it fixed up. But OPO2 Zoro, I'm expecting to run like pretty much like this, and it is so explosive and so hard to keep up with, and it's just disgusting, and it's so easy to make minus the Whitebeards, and even if you can't get the Whitebeards for Treasure Cup, you don't really need them. Like,
but
they're
it's so like it. That's the thing about that deck. It is so easy to like acquire. Like, yeah, Whitebeard's probably the highest rarity card that you'd have to get, but everything else is like commons, uncommon.
Well, yeah, like Dadan is uncommon, Vista is rare, Makino is uncommon, Magra is common. Actually, the rarest thing in here is probably this friggin' Sunny, if you weren't able to get out to the tourneys before the film decks were gone.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, then it's going to be Whitebeard for the Treasure Cups, because you got to get the Edward Newgates. But if you can get the Edward Newgates, this is the 100% build, I would say. And then without the Edward Newgates, you can just like take those out and like go like classic with like Luffy's, or you can like go low to the ground and like take those out, and like you can like put in choppers if you want to be more defensive. Like,
right.
There's other ways you can build it. Like,
I say you can even go as far as to say, like, in all honesty, you can keep a high tier Zoro deck right now. Literally switch out Shanks for Whitebeard. Completely fine.
Yeah, more than likely. Like, as long as you're running the Sunnies, like the big thing is like you just need to get the Vistas, in my opinion. That's the big thing. Like, obviously Makinos and like Magras make things like really crazy, and Dadan just makes it like more consistent. But the 100%. Vistas in combination with like Otamas and Gordons, which people are already running right now,
exactly.
Like they just make Vista absolutely insane. Like, I was playing yesterday, and I'm playing like my 7K onto the board, or my 8K onto the board, and it's just like there's like, hey, spin my Gordon to the bottom, play Otama, Vista, destroy the character. And it's like, okay, so for 4 Dawn investment on your turn, after already attacking with Gordon, you took out my 8 drop. Like, okay, fair.
Exactly. It's like, oh, well, thanks. I spent my whole turn on it. You spent
you spent half your turn. Like, and it's honestly, like, to be fair, like, it is obviously how their deck is built, but like, it feels so bad when it goes off the way it's intended. It's just 100%. Insane. Like, and like the thing is like, even when you're against, even as Kinemon, right? Like, you're like, oh, okay, like I just gotta like keep control of their board stuff, right? And then they drop Whitebeard, they drop this Edward Newgate, and they keep all their stuff untapped. So they've got like 2 to 3 characters untapped. Let's like Sunny, like Gordon, and like Nami or something, or like Dadan. And then they've got this friggin' Whitebeard over here, this Newgate, and like they're 7k till next turn, so you can barely tickle them. And they've got all their characters untapped because they can't attack anyway. Which means that next turn you've got the full friggin' onslaught coming at you, and you're already at like 1 to 2 life. So, and they've added a 10k guy that it has a friggin' Nico Bravo effect. So they're gonna take out one of your blockers unless it's a big blocker.
So then you just go, please let me have all 1-cost blockers in hand. But even then, it's like, okay, yeah, good luck.
Yeah. I have to play 2 1-cost blockers just to block 1 attack because. Like it's really, really good. And then obviously the other big horse to bet on is Kinemon. I've got here the build that I would say is the fixed version if you're wanting to compete against Zoro's speed, because if you don't have these Kozuki Tokis or like the Punk Gibsons, you're absolutely going to get demolished. The one of Captain Kid is in here too, for that reason. Because like you don't really need the Captain Kid in any other matchup except versus Red. 2 X-Drake's kind of the same reason. They're good in more matchups than Kid is in OPO2, but like if you're able to drop those and just take out 3 drops or 4 drops, like you're just winning games. Odin is just absolutely a house. Like you win games as Kid with this effect, and he gets it without having to discard a card. And if he dies, he gets a 3 drop from deck. Like I've had games where, again, against Zoros and stuff, they'll pop the Odin because they don't want to deal with him next turn because like I can probably kill them with it. And then I go and I grab an Izu from deck and tap down one of their attackers. So now I've taken away one of their attacks, and I've got something on field that can be effective next turn.
Yep, 100%.
What's the other one we said is Whitebeard? This one's actually kind of funny because no one, I think, will see this kind of build unless they've been paying attention to what's going on in Japan. But this is how I think we're going to see Whitebeard. It's something similar to this. It's going to be anywhere from 2 to 4 ace. And if you don't see 4 ace, it's just going to be 2 more vanilla characters.
Yep.
And it's just all guard and rush and what's it called? And efficient numbers. It's just efficiency. So it's just drop a 4, attack for 7, attack for 7, attack for 7, attack for 7.
Yeah, that ace is going to be prevalent in a lot of red decks. And then even if people want to go as far to try to make Law viable, that's something that you could easily throw in a Law build, because then you have that 5 drop that returns any card to hand. So you could easily spam out the ace, put out
the
Law.
minus 3,000, and like the thing is though, is he doesn't gain rush unless your leader is Whitebeard.
Right. It's more so for board clearing of like red players and stuff like that for a lot of the low costing.
Yeah, like the minus 3,000 is definitely effective at that kind of stuff. And like we're definitely going to see more of the use of the minus 3,000 come OPO3. But for now, he's mostly used for his rush abilities, like the fact that this is mostly a Straw Hat deck, whereas in OPO3, we see the deck definitely come into its own as a Whitebeard deck, as a Whitebeard Pirates deck, which is like something I'm really looking forward to. Doesn't
one of
use a
those like
lot of the set 2 Whitebeard pirates, unfortunately. I think it uses Marco, which is like the best pirate, let's be fair, and like Jozu, which is another one of the best ones. But
Yep.
I see some people use King Do, but like I think he's like really heavy investment into some of the decks that you have to face when you're like already running so few characters. Running something like a 5-drop 7, like just puts a big target on him.
Yeah, definitely 100%. I think it's better to go the dang, what is it called? Not curly. Oh man, it was in the first matchup where essentially it's the one that boosts the 1-drop red. Can't think of her name.
Makino?
Yeah, Makino.
Yeah, well, yeah, like that's like what I've been seeing in the Whitebeards in OPO3 is like they'll run like Atmos and stuff like that because like basically like the idea is that with him and Moby Dick you're at 9k, right? So you're running him, Moby Dick plus 1 Dawn is 9k. So it's the same as like with Whitebeard, him, Moby Dick, and a Dawn is 9k. So the idea with King Do is him and Moby Dick is 9k, but then you're spending 1 Dawn, and if he doesn't stick around, then you've lost that Dawn. So,
it's Whitebeard. I think is really. You'll see a lot of value in it set 2, but definitely I agree. Set 3, it's finally becomes its own deck, kind of like for like Wano. Like Wano set 1 is really okay, it's good, it's used, and then set 2 it gets its own thing. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can see here, like even in Kid is basically just turns into Wano again. Like you and I were talking about it at Treasure Cup in Niagara Falls when we were talking about the Odin deck that I was brewing up and how it was like 25-25 split on Wano and Supernova, and like you can see how it's now just starting to lean away from that, like even this deck has started to even get towards the point where like Kid itself has gotten to the point where Wano starts to take over, right? So like you've got 1, 2, 6, 10, 14, 13, what is that, 16, 20 Wano cards, and like you've got like 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 22. I'm definitely doing numbers wrong here, but yeah, something like 22, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 22. So that must mean that there's 28 Wano. 2, 3.
Yep.
Yeah, there's 28 Wano, so the numbers have already been skewed in Kid. And that, I don't know what this build is. This looks weird. I obviously was doing something weird here, testing some weird stuff. But like even here, like here it's even worse. Like where I think it's like 17, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 23 actually. This one's actually closer to the Odin ratios, which I think are like the golden ratios that you want to be at, is like 25-25, but 27-23 is close. Like it's like a couple cards off. But like,
I definitely picked out the Odin build that we discussed about, and I think I made maybe like a minuscule tweak here and there, and I mean, past
those are
3
like
locals.
Yeah. How have you done?
Like past 3 locals, I've gotten to the finals every time.
It's just such a good deck.
It's like people don't expect it. The biggest thing is spamming. Like I love spamming that double Okiku turn 2.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Double Okiku, or the double like Raizo. Like the amount of times I'll go against a Kaido player and drop the double Raizo with Odin, and it's just like you just start poking at them for 5s and drawing cards, and it's just such a huge value engine. And there's not much they can do about it unless they've drawn the king. And like if they've drawn the king, then they have to take up the Raizo, and they leave your like your Momos and stuff alone. because they've got no choice. But yeah, other contenders for the upcoming regionals, obviously, we have Ivankov that we tested today. Like, I think you were on the exact same build, eh?
Yeah. Actually, it's the exact same build.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if you were. I wasn't sure if you were going with your Impel Down All Stars and Deathlink build, or if you were going with this one. But
no, I definitely wanted to try out yours for a different perspective, and I think it was really good because I felt like the difference between how I ran it, because how I run it is turn 1 and turn 2 is Impel Down All Stars, which is draw 2, discard 2, and Mr. 1 to then recycle that.
yeah.
And it's just to mill through deck so I can get to the cards that I need to get to, like 7 drop or the Ivankov and Luffy. That's really just the biggest things.
That's fair.
And that was just like a blind way of going into it, as far as just like, what is the deck all capable of? And it's really good for going through your deck and getting you down to like the 1 to 2 cards in hand, which you just then dish out, obviously, for counters, and then just, you know, draw your 2 at the end of the turn. It's really good in that way, but I think it, in a way, as much as you're having a lot of 2Ks, it's so aggressive as far as milling the deck that you can deck out really easily.
And you probably don't get as much selection in terms of keeping your cards. So, like, you have to get rid of cards that you'd rather keep.
Yeah, and like, going back on those games that we played, like, my hand predominantly throughout that game was 2K counters every single time.
Yeah, and those probably made a huge difference in getting to keep your board and stuff like that.
Yeah, it definitely was a different way to play it, and honestly, I might take that into OPO2 like live consideration. I might do like
I think Deathwink is a good worthy consideration, honestly. I would trash Impel Down All Stars from your mind, but like I think Deathwink is a worthy inclusion. I personally don't use it, but like it's definitely like when you're down to those last 2 cards in hand, blocking, then going Deathwink and drawing 2 more is just so powerful, especially when we were talking about stacking the top of the deck with Doflamingo. To draw the 2 cards with Ivankov, and then drawing the cards off of Deathwink with that would just be so strong and so good. So
100%. And then the biggest thing is just, like, if not Deathwink, I think Rain is also a good option, just for the simple fact that you can go full aggro as far as Dawn usage, and then still have the capabilities to have a 3K counter in hand.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, for no Dawn at all whatsoever. I think it's super good. Either that or implementing Love Mellow is actually pretty good, because you're getting through your cards a lot more.
That's true.
And you're getting towards your target of what you want to get for. I have made an attempt at that where I threw in 4 Love to like a very similar build to what you sent. I think I can't remember what I switched out. I think I probably switched out some 2Ks for it. And it helped in the simple fact that I was able to dish whatever 2K that I needed, and then if I needed to use the Love, obviously draw a card, and then whatever that draw was, if it was another 2K, then that's another potential card that I'm saving, as far as if you're attacking characters, or it's just another 2K that I have to protect life and preserve. Or it could be like, I've had one instance where like I drew off Love and it was like Ivankov, and then the next card I drew was
like Luffy.
No, I wish. But it was buggy, so it was like, okay, that's the next best thing.
Yeah, exactly, because then you can look at the top 5, try to find something, and even if you whiff, like, you're 5 deeper in for the Ivankov. So
exactly,
like the GARP. So onto the GARP that we played today. I think that kind of showed a little bit of why GARP doesn't work, honestly. Like I had full combo multiple times in terms of like getting your stuff down. He definitely is effective at doing what he wants to do in terms of minusing your Dawn and minusing your character's cost and getting you down to 0. He's very, very effective at doing that. And even like knocking out characters, he's very effective at doing that. I probably don't have enough KO effects in this build. I have 2 Sakazukis, 4 Meteor Volcanoes, 4 Kobe, and I have the 4 Monkey D Garp, which were very effective and honestly probably the strongest KO effect I had in here, because like I was repeatedly just KOing your characters with them.
Yeah.
But whenever the combo was broken in terms of the efficient Dawn attachments, it became much harder to pull that off. And just in terms of like, he can remove characters easily, but his closing out of the games is affected by that, because he has to attach Dawn to start to try and remove characters, and then he has to try and remove those characters after attaching Dawn. So like characters like removal like Kobe, I have to attach 4 Dawn and play Kobe, so suddenly Kobe is a 7-drop. Like, yes, I get a 9k attacker on Garp, but it's still a 7-drop on Kobe to remove a character if I want to remove a 7-drop character.
It kind of restricts itself. I guess like that's the best way to explain it. It's like it does a job, but because of that, you're now using Dawn towards something that is not as useful as what you could use on a different character, or different abilities or counters for follow-up. It almost seems like you're kind of pointlessly using the Dawn in a way.
Yeah,
but
like,
yeah,
like it just feels like he could be doing more. Like, he feels like a character that was put into the system and not really given a lot of thought. They were just like, yeah, he'll just minus Dawn, and it's just like, yeah, he's red because he's Luffy's father, a grandfather. So we'll make him red, and that's why he's red. Because like otherwise, like the colors don't really mesh very well.
Give him a basic red ability. Attach Dawn. Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, it's just like minus cost doesn't mesh with anything in red. Like, all of red's KO effects involve power.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can give minus cost or power. Like, if you could choose between the two, then it would be interesting. But and like you said, it doesn't have anything to do with red. Like, his ability just has nothing to do with red. He can't attach to himself or a character. So like, it's just really weird. Yeah, Lord Richards, I agree. It just doesn't mesh well.
It's the equivalent of King in set 1, where it's like, yes, the ability's nice, but it kind of conflicts with its color.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, yeah, exactly like King in set 1, the purple King.
Yeah, it's just like, it does a cool thing, but it's like all of the cards kind of make the counter to what the hell you're trying to do. It's the same thing with red, where it's just like the black effect is nice of, yeah, I'm KOing something, but all of the red cards and don't give a damn about the cost. They just care about
literally, as you can see in the build, I've just got everything that attaches to itself, and then like a 1-drop blocker and some 2k counters. Like, the 1-drop blocker, just because I don't have 1-drop blockers in black.
Yeah, it's just like, okay.
Yeah, okay, I'll take a 1-drop blocker, I guess. And then I guess Radical Beam, because I'm a friggin' 2-color character, so I've got like no life. Oh yeah, we did. So Lord Richards, we did do a Z build.